Hello everybody and welcome to another Total War Warhammer update. I am Atomic Zero of Addicted to Loot, and today we're going to be seeing the debut of Kolek Sun Eater in a Chaos Warriors versus the Dwarves Let's Play with Darren taking the helm as the Chaos Warriors. But this is going to be a little interesting because we will eventually be seeing both sides of this battle. The first half, as I said, will be Darren playing the Chaos Warriors against the Dwarves. However, he did host on his own private channel this exact same battle as him playing the Dwarves. So we're going to be going right from this battle into that battle. So I'm going to try to keep my pauses to a minimum so we don't have this drag out too super long. With that, we'll get right into it.
Hello all and welcome to another video for Total War Warhammer. I am Joey Dalton and I'm joined by Darren McNally in this Let's Play. Darren, what are we doing this time?
So we're playing
Still,
as the
this
Chaos
freaking,
Warriors
I love
in
the
this Let's
scenery.
Play, as we
Oh,
have
the
a very
scenery. Still not
special
really sure
announcement to make.
exactly where
That's
this
right,
is
we
taking
do.
place.
The Chaos Warriors race pack will now not only be free to you if you pre-order, but it will also be free for everyone who buys the game in the first week of release as an early adopter bonus.
Yeah, I kind of talked over that real quick, but in case you didn't hear it, and in case you've been living under a rock lately, Sega has announced that they will be offering the free Chaos Race DLC first 1 week after launch, meaning that it is no longer just a pre-order bonus, but it will be a bonus 1 week after launch. And I think this is a really great thing for us as a community as well as this game. It shows that Sega's actually willing to put their money where their mouth is and say, hey, we believe this is going to be a great game. We believe we're giving you a quality product, that we're not scared of offering this to people 1 week after release, saying that they'll have plenty of time to read reviews, watch YouTube videos on it, watch various YouTubers or Twitch streamers play the game. And I think that's really great, especially after the whole cut content issue, the seeds issue, pre-ordering issue, all this other kind of bad press that's been coming that way. So I actually like this a lot. I think it might bring in additional people who have had maybe a little bit of a hardship doing the pre-order for the whole cut content. So with that, huge news, great news for us. I mean, I'm going to be having the game on day one regardless, so if you would so please, you could use me as one of your pre-purchase references within the Total War community. I will be covering this game as well as doing some initial launch coverage, whether it's Twitch streaming or doing just constant upload Let's Plays with it. I'm still trying to decide which one. If you have a personal opinion, please leave it in the comments and I will happily tailor make it to what you guys want.
So if you have pre-ordered already, you'll be able to preload the game to be the first to play it on May 24th. But if you hold off, the Chaos Warriors will be available for the
Still
first
can't
week
believe it's
after
only a few
launch.
weeks away. So freaking
So if
excited.
you want more details on that, check the link in the description or check out the Total War Warhammer Steam page.
Right, so we're fighting at High Pass, and we're playing as Chaos as we mentioned, and we're against the Dwarves. And just this lovely unit here, these are the Dragon Ogres.
And the debut of the Dragon Ogre, if I can talk correctly. Just a little bit of a graphical issue here just because they kind of look like they're floating, but these guys are really super cool. They're an extremely ancient race. They go back to even before the days of the old one, so they go super far back into the Warhammer world. And they were actually almost completely wiped out to the point of extinction until some of their leaders, some of the Shaggoths, actually made a pact with the Chaos Gods, which granted them eternal life, but also internally enslaved them to the Chaos Gods. These guys look like they come in a unit of, 12 from the looks of it. Really cool guys. I mean, absolutely intense weapon. I mean, they have axes. They have, looks like they have two-handed giant mauls. So I like the variation within the unit.
Handsome.
Very cute, very little, very small in comparison to the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth.
Wow.
And the
so
Shaggoth, which towers over the Dragon Ogre. These guys are cool. They, as Dragon Ogres, if I can talk, grow older, they will continuously get larger, they'll continuously get stronger. So, as you can imagine, if they live eternally,
Yeah,
they
really
get
good.
massive.
Electrical pulses around them. Looks
Cool
really
little
good, and it
electrical
sounds really good as
animation
well,
here.
actually.
Really love that little
But
addition.
as he's dwarfed in
And as they live for
comparison
eternally,
to
get bigger,
Kolek
they
Sun
come
Eater,
into the realm of Kolek Sun Eater, who's a legendary lord. He actually, his background is pretty cool. He actually was encased in a prison, basically a Gracer prison of the High Elves. So he was basically frozen solid in this massive prison, and a rogue mage came along and just released him to kind of get him into the Great Battle or the Great War of Chaos back when, which is covered which I was talking about in my Empire overview video. So this guy is insane. I mean, look at it. You have the Dragon Ogre, who's mini. You have the Shaggoth, which is super large in comparison, and then you have Kolek's Sun Eater, who's even, probably 2 or 3 times the size of a Shaggoth. So that's absolutely insane.
He actually has a bonus for having...
Love the plate armor, love the electrical, the lightning jumping around him, as well as his, coming out of his eyes. They do say that he's fully upgraded, so I'm not sure how much of this is because he's fully upgraded or how much of this is just standard character layout.
Dragon Ogres and Shaggoths. He can recruit them at 15% the cost. And
okay, so if we just want to blow that up real quick. So this is kind of what he gets as a legendary lord for the Chaos, who are a kind of a, what would you say, a roaming horde, if you will, kind of like the Mongols of Attila. Now, let's see, they have 15% upkeep for Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, so that's the larger unit, 10% upkeep for the Dragon Ogre units, and he also gets, looks like he has some Dragon Ogre units, so this is at least a Dragon Ogre. This looks like a Chaos Champion, maybe, and then this also looks like some kind of Chaos unit. So he has, I guess, additional starting units within maybe his own personal army. But with how massive these guys are, how much damage they put out, and how much hit points they have, and as you will see later in this video, just how OP they are. I mean, they are absolutely incredible creatures. This upkeep is going to be crucial for, I guess, a Kolek-led Chaos Horde. I mean, if you could just endlessly, I don't want to say endlessly, but if you could have almost all your units have Dragon Ogres and Shaggoths in it, it would be absolutely incredible.
10% the cost for the Dragon Ogres.
That is awesome. His weapon is called Star Crusher as well. What a name.
Yeah, the Sun Eater and the Star Crusher. He is, I mean, he's, as we'll see in this playthrough, he's really, really powerful, and having those guys in your army, it's actually really good bonus to have any kind of upkeep, have any negative upkeep on them, because they're quite expensive, they're quite rare, so to have them in this army like this, you're dealing with a high tier powerful army.
Once again, I'm a little upset with the fact that there isn't too much of a, there's no individual Chaos god iconography on any one of these guys. They're all just Chaos Undivided, which is a little disappointing. I would like to see touches of Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Tzeentch mixed in here.
Chosen here with great weapons as well.
See, that symbol's only the Chaos Undivided symbol.
Of the metal variation or the metal lore. So Chaos Warriors, they can actually play with different sorcerers of different lores. I think metal, fire, and death are some of the ones.
So that's pretty cool. Chaos does get 3 different types of mages.
We also have
metal and fire, surprising to me. Death, not as much surprising. I do love the Chaos Knights with the barding on it. These guys look so badass. I mean, just from a graphical standpoint, this is absolutely insane. Gets my, gamer blood a boiling. I mean, look at these guys. They're going to be so cool to rush into battle with.
Dwarven army up here on top of the hill. So it's not really sneaky tactics, but obviously they don't have cavalry themselves, so we can, bring our cavalry around up behind them on the hill and hope to do some flanking charges. So it should be good.
Got some Thunderers, more Thunderers. Love the Thunderers.
No fast units at all. They're really slow. Even the Slayers, which we'll see.
Got some Hammers, which are awesome. That's like the King's personal bodyguard. Troll Hammer torpedoes.
These guys here are really cool. The Iron Drakes with the Troll Hammer torpedoes, and they're meant to take down large monstrous infantry.
Anyone who has armor on their beard is someone to be working with.
The Dragon Ogres, as well as the cannons, the Slayers in the back.
I love the intricate work on all the siege weapons.
This is just a quick debug mode to look at their army. They'll actually deploy a little bit different.
I mean, it just looks cool. They got the dragon mouth. He actually had some canisters that I was assumed would hold the fuel as well as the air he used to launch all the fireballs. So it's nice. I like seeing all the little cool details on them.
Top of this hill. So here we are. This is the kind of gameplay. So obviously we're not playing this right now. We're looking back on the gameplay that I captured at the time. But to kind of appease the people who want to see cool zoom-ins and cool cinematic shots, I've also interlaced the video with the
this is Chaos Knights, but I'm in Kolek.
In Warhammer, after a battle is done,
I love the click and drag ability. I absolutely love that. That's going to make positioning so much better.
And then we're allowed to put the camera down and see the game.
And here's actually another cool thing I want to point out that this is kind of announced in this Let's Play is that Total War Warhammer will allow us to make battle replays where we can actually intermix the kind of the top-down player perspective, which is I'm controlling my unit's perspective, versus into a cinematic perspective. So you can actually make extremely cool battles in real time, or even you can change up the time scaling of it, where you could actually say like, oh, I'm gonna show you that I'm moving all my Chaos Horde down here up to like this point right in front of them, but now I'm gonna give you a cinematic view of the enemy actually shooting at me as well as my own army like reacting to the shots. I think that's absolutely amazing from a from a multiplayer battle standpoint, from a let's play standpoint. I think it'd be really cool to be able to give all these different types of cinematic views. I think it's going to be... I'll actually allow Total War Warhammer to give out some of the best Total War videos. And I love this. I love the impact animations of the artillery. Actually seeing everyone fly. Same with the cavalry charges. It just gives a real good impact to everything that happens in the game. I mean, the fact that, hey, you just got smacked in the face with a cannonball. Are you going to just kind of plop down with the ragdoll physics? No, you're gonna go flying off a mountain. Yes, of course, because this is freaking Warhammer.
Zoom in of all the action and some of the higher up gameplay choices that I've made.
I love the little red capes. Look at them go.
Yeah. So we saw some dudes fly back all the way down the mountain, getting hit by a cannon. So already the Dwarven artillery is firing on me.
Their calves as well as their venomed warhounds.
In the debug mode.
These guys actually, this is their second tier.
We just have a long plodding march up this hill until
I don't know if I'd send my ogres in, ahead of time, but I guess they're being protected by all the scenery. And I mean, just look at this. I mean, I love how different. I mean, maybe the scale's not that huge, but look at how the different elevation changes you have, the different types of monuments in the way, and the different types of landmarks. I just wish they would have that additional. Those additional like little touches within all the settlements in the cities. Like I said, I don't know if I would send my ogres in first, unsupported, because almost any other battle, faction, Total War, you never send in your good units or your best units in unsupported. But as you will see, the Dragon Ogres, it doesn't actually matter if they go in unsupported or not.
But in terms of this battle, my strategy generally is to move forward with a kind of a double line, split into a single line, and then have cavalry go around the edges. And I've concentrated all my monstrous infantry kind of on the flanks as well of the infantry. So I have Chaos Spawn over on the right, which we'll zoom in a bit later.
And as we'll hear on his personal video when he plays the Dwarves, this battle is very much meant for the Chaos units to completely just own. So the fact that I can tell you right now he's going to win is going to be no surprise.
This map is really beautiful. It's set up in the kind of Norscan regions near some Dwarven Carracks, so I like to think that they're kind of holding back the Chaos Invasion as best as they can before we move in on their Carracks, I guess, up north. So it's worth mentioning that Kolic is fully upgraded here. In Custom Battle, Legendary Lords are fully upgraded, so all the spells he's active, that means he's like fully upgraded.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. On any multiplayer battle or custom battle, all the lords that you're going to be using regardless of race are fully upgraded. Yeah, pretty cool.
Skill tree.
Yes, one of his,
I love watching the Shaggoth just charge in, and that's not even Kolic. This is the standard Shaggoth. I mean, look at this. Right through a line.
So there we go. The Shaggoth has made its way.
There's no such thing as a battle line anymore if you have Dragon Ogres and a Shaggoth.
And the Iron Breakers are throwing their black.
I like the fact that the Iron Breakers, which are one of the more heavy tier infantry units, have, instead of spears, they have blast charges, which I think are great. They don't do much damage, but they're still pretty cool. The fire animations here are really wonky. I feel like these aren't. I'm hoping these aren't going to be the final versions of the fire animations.
Fight up there. The Slayers are digging into my guys as well, which is going to be a bit rough on the monstrous infantry. But Joey actually hasn't seen this battle yet at all. She's watching this back for the first time.
Like I said, I don't know if I'd send them in unsupported, because look, now the Slayers are right in the mix of them, and that's exactly what Slayers are meant to do. They're meant to take out Dragon Ogres. They're meant to take out heavy infantry, or anti-large infantry.
Manticore is pretty good, so we'll send that after it. Hopefully it'll do good. We'll catch up with that later. But things are going pretty well. I mean,
and then here's Kolic.
Smashing through Dwarves at the moment.
Absolutely no one can stop him.
A lot of things at him. I just used a final transmutation there from my wizard, which is a direct damage spell, and I actually overcast it, which kind of increases the
Chaos Chosen against miners and even just Dwarven warriors does probably going to be very one-sided there.
Spell that lasts for about 20 seconds.
I love the flavor text for it. Is the wizard unleashes a hail of
magic. And apparently they already hit the artillery crew, so I feel like that's the fact that the AI had the artillery crew right here, not the greatest.
quite brutal.
Yeah.
Here's another reason why I feel like the AI,
So here you can see
the
Chaos
the
Spawn, the Blast
battle
Strikes
AI
are
for these guys aren't that great. And these are the Chaos Spawn.
devastating. They
But
have
once
so
again, they're
many of them.
Chaos Spawn, generic Chaos Spawn. They're not like greater demons of anyone.
Mind Drakes.
Very disappointed in that. I was hoping to have some like Bloodthirsters or greater, like but the great and clean ones or
There's
something like
units as
that.
well. Mine is with blasting charges that can throw them in as well. My Manticore's going to town on the Gyrocopter, and it's actually broken. It's running away. We've got a beautiful charge.
And
here
then look
from
at
the
this.
Chaos Lancers as
I'm
well.
really
Yeah.
surprised about how the AI handled their range units and really
It's
they
funny
didn't
because
face the
Kolek is
Cav
so
at all.
massive,
They
especially
didn't
compared to
counter the
Dwarf.
Cav at all.
They're very, very brave and hard
I'm
to hold.
hoping this was on a harder difficulty, but
So
yeah,
they have
I'm
quite
just
a few
really
stages,
surprised
which is
how the AI
bad
handled the
for you
Cav in this
a couple
game
of ways, 'cause you've got some larger units
or in this battle.
Yeah.
So avoiding them is key, I would say.
Just that spell that's going off there, that is the Gehenna's Golden Hands. It's a vortex spell, lasts about 13 seconds, and it costs 9 wounds of magic. Again, that's the Metal Sorcerer, just hanging back, casting spells where he can.
So he summons the spirit of Gehenna's metal.
That's kind of cool. Even when the flame cannons aren't shooting, they have a standard this arresting steam animation. Pretty cool.
Oh, what was that?
So that's the blasting charge, it's just going off in the distance. They just launch them at blobs of infantry and just completely wreck them. So my
you've got
Manticore
one
came down for a
mountain
nice
unit.
charge.
That's it.
Yeah, I've...
Even
Look,
that
none of
is
these
fine.
I'm
none
not
of these
gonna
units
lie,
are fleeing
I
just
kind
yet.
of
You have Chaos
really
Chosen
well
at 14.
against these
They're
guys.
not battling
We're
right
just,
now,
like,
but no
pushing
one's
late
really
into them,
routing.
Kind of like a constant onslaught. This is a
Let's
very
see.
high tier army.
The
Now,
Shaggoths getting a little
their army
low.
costs the
The
exact
Dragon
same, they have
Ogres
a
only
lot
have
of
6
troops,
left.
But they just didn't hold very well, and my spells
I wonder
kinda
if
went
the
off
red,
so I got
green,
kind of
and
lucky.
yellow is
Like
like
the
how
Gyro
far
Bomb.
they're
The
like
Gyro Bomb
they're
is actually coming
wavering,
back
or
in
if it's
here
like
to make a
how
quick
well they're
run on
doing
my
in combat.
Chaos
Like if
Lance.
red means
He actually comes
they're
in really
losing
good, knocks
decisively
people
and
off,
like
then
green means like
starts
victory's certain.
frantically dropping his bombs while my Manticore chases him down.
Oh, that was clever.
Yeah, so here he is just going along the line, literally dropping the bombs. You can see them actually coming out of the back. My Manticore
The one
just
thing,
isn't
the bombs
fast
don't
enough
look like
to
they
get
do
him.
so much damage. It doesn't seem like there's a lot
I
of
always thought it
impact
was
with
It'd
them.
be really cool if Kolek just like gave him a little whack out of the air with his hammer, but it wasn't to be. And you can see just all the carnage going on.
And more
They're
blasting
still
charges.
holding
I
their
do
own.
love the
Dwarves
fact of
just,
just
like,
how
don't
much,
do anything.
They're holding what the dwarves bring to the table, even though we've already seen that they kind of lose to the fact that they get cav, or that if anyone else has additional cav. But we will see in the next video that the dwarves do kind of have some built-in anti-cav into their units, at least a bit of a counter to anti-cav.
The Gyro Bomber.
And as they point out, like
right in the
there's
sky.
not many
Yeah,
like
I love
kill
that.
animations,
So
like
good when it gets that
one-on-one
sound
kill
really
animations,
good
and
as
the
well.
fact
You
that
just
we don't
hear
have
the fellas, like,
too much
coming
match
back.
combat in this Total War is probably the reason for it. As much as I would love to see more like of Kolek picking up a
So
guy
just
and
kinda
chucking
picking off
them,
who I
or
can,
like
finishing
people
off
cutting
some
off other
units,
people's
bringing
heads,
Manticore
something.
into the fray. It's doing an
I
amazing
feel like we
charge
got a
into the
lot
units,
more
just ripping them apart, basically.
like throwing
And
animations
this is
than
kinda what you have to do
actual
when
like
playing against
one-on-one
Chaos
killing
Dwarves.
animations.
They're very, very strong, and they're quite
Which I feel like I
scary,
could
to
go
be honest.
either way on.
Seeing a dwarf fly past the camera.
Yeah, they're so little. They just like fly by. I did another final transmutation again, which
See, look,
another
the
dark
Shaggoths
damage
running
spell. That was
away.
actually something that really helped me getting through in the beginning, pushing through their lines. That damage spell is an area of effect spell, so you don't just target one unit, you target the area, and anyone in it takes the damage. So that kind of actually allowed me to hit 5 or 6 units at once. Very, very lucky to get it off with the 50% miscast.
See, it's kind of difficult to tell because it still looks like they've got so many units.
And the
but you
poison
can
version of these
dwindle the
guys, if
numbers of those
you
units
have, if
running
you've
away.
forgotten or
But
just
still
haven't
has so
noticed or
many
haven't
left.
watched the
they've got lots
previous
of,
Chaos Let's
kind of
Play,
flags you can see
any
that
poison
they
unit, so
pop
this would
off
also
and they
be
come back,
for
they reform quite a lot.
the
Because Ungrim is
Dark
actually
Goblin.
fighting, forgot to mention
The-
Ungrim
yeah,
Iron
the
Fist.
Dark
Here he
Goblin,
is here,
yeah.
getting up. He's after just being charged.
So for any of the
Come back
Warhounds
to
that
him for a
are,
second.
or
Gonna
for
bring
the
the Shaggoth. See who's
Dark
gonna win
Goblins,
this
that
fight.
Rear
anything that has a
attack.
venom attack,
Oh,
it decreases attack speed as well as attack damage or weapon damage.
Never tell
Night
it
Goblins,
to
Night
a
Goblins.
dash.
I knew Dark Goblins
he
sounded
took him
freaking
down.
weird. Yeah, Night
Oh,
Goblins.
But he is the Slayer King, of course.
He
you
is,
know?
so he did pretty good. Also, I was told it's worth mentioning that the fact he didn't react when he got hit is because Legendary Lords, they do have some react animations for getting hit, but they don't always react because if they were constantly in the react state, they would never get an attack off. It's kind of like a stun lock animation. So that's actually a choice made on purpose so that the gameplay just flows a little better.
And in case you didn't hear that, that makes sense to me, the fact that Legendary Lords won't
so
always
it's
react to
basically
being
just
hit,
underleft,
because
stubborn little-
obviously if they're a Legendary Lord, I mean, if they are always reacting to being hit, then they're always going to be in a stunned state, so they don't actually get an attack off. That makes
guy
sense.
doesn't want to break. I just kind of envelop him with everything I got. He's taken out, the Shaggoth, and Kolak's pissed.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
It's probably his girlfriend or something.
And instead of like swinging wildly like Kolak's doing, I wish he would actually like hit him with his like hammer instead of like just hitting the ground near him. I wish he could actually make sure he hit the unit.
Kolak actually has an bombardment
once
spell of his own.
Ungrin goes
I
down,
as
inevitably.
It's called Lord of the Storm. It only lasts like 5 seconds, and it doesn't cost any winds of magic, but that's what the animation there was, where he lifts the
But there you go.
or mace up in the air.
He's dead, and that's really
Ungrin
it
was
for this
finished off
battle,
by-
and
Oh,
we're
you
gonna
done
waste
it?
no
Yeah,
time.
so
We're
that's
actually
the
gonna go
victory.
Well, congratulations for
right
redeeming your,
into his
title of
next
not
video.
losing it.
Okay, and now we're gonna go over Darren's personal video with him playing as the Dwarves against Chaos. Same exact battle, same exact units.
video in which I played as the Vampire Counts against Lionheart X10, who played as Bretonia in a custom multiplayer siege battle of Corone. This video, however, is going to be me playing as the Dwarves defending against the Chaos Warriors, recreating the Battle of High Pass, which you can check out over on the official Total War channel, or check it out in the description below. So this is High Pass. These are just some scenes that I thought I should show before we get into the battle. The layout should be the exact same. The unit rosters are the exact same as the other video. However, the weather is slightly different, but that won't affect gameplay at all. This also is a Chaos Shrine, which I thought was worth mentioning. It's at the back. It has its own kind of glowing
That's
embers coming
so
out of it. It looks
freaking
really
gorgeous.
cool, dark, and sinister.
I'm really surprised that the
Definitely
snow isn't
worth
affecting the
showing that
battle.
off. So, I'm not going to be showing the gameplay perspective. Instead, I'm going to go for a more cinematic approach, showing the replay. Of course, Total War Warhammer allows the playback of battles in the form of replays, where the battle plays out the exact same.
I love this. The Iron Breakers, which I think are just about the highest tier of armored unit for the Dwarves. I mean, maybe the Hammers or things like that are a little bit heavier, but I think Iron Breakers are the highest. Look at this. Charge defense against all. Okay, so now we know that at least to a certain point, when other factions are getting much heavier cav, like Boars, Chaos Knights, what have you, the Dwarves actually could get Iron Breakers to protect their flanks, and then that way, if a cav unit charges into them, all charge bonus is completely lost. I mean, it's not even, it's going to be like if someone just walked up to them and started attacking as opposed to charging into. So that's really huge. And then we'll see that some have charge bonus against anti-large, meaning if, let's say, a dragon ogre wanted to charge into your line, absolutely negates all charge bonus. So that's pretty cool. But trying to wield an army with enough Iron Breakers to counter all cav is going to be way too expensive. So I don't know how valid of a defense that's going to be for cav, but at least you know they have options.
And I thought I'd go through the army roster. The first 4 units in my front line are Iron Breakers. They have charge defense against all units, so they absolutely
120
negate
armor
bonuses
is
to
insane.
charging units.
Then you get the long beards. Look at this guy. I'm surprised he doesn't trip over his beard. Look how low those freaking that beard is. But once again, old grumblers. I would love to know what that means. But long beards, like as dragon ogres age, they get bigger. As dwarves age, they get longer beards. So maybe old grumblers means that they're just older guys. They're cranky, they're sore, but they know their stuff. They're veteran warriors, and they know what the hell they're doing. But see, like, charge defense against large foes. So they're still going to get hit hard by cav, but at least if a dragon ogre runs into them, there'll be no bonus.
And then behind them is Longbeards, that they have charge defense against large units. So anyone that kind of punches through the front line hits those guys, and they should have a good charge against
Blasting
the big
charges
guys.
are so much fun.
Miners in the middle with blasting charges, and then 3 units of
I do love, if we go back to the miners real quick, the fact that they have pickaxes allows them to have armor piercing. Love that cool little throwback to the tabletop, because I believe that's a very similar thing. And it's surprising that, well, this guy has like a true pickaxe. This guy actually is having a warhammer that he's just wielding backwards. Interesting choice, but okay.
miners in the middle with blasting
Oh,
charges.
look at that.
and then-
That's kind of cool. I didn't notice that. Good against gates. So they actually can throw their blasting charges against gates during sieges.
and 3
Really
units
cool.
of Thunderers at the back. These guys are decent in melee as well, so it's actually not too bad if they get bogged down or run out of ammo. Iron Drakes with the Troll Hammer Torpedo. The Troll
I mean, look
Hammer
at this. They're a range unit that has just as much armor as an Iron Breaker. Freaking insane. They can't do much once they get into actual melee combat, but they can hold their own. They're hard to kill, but look at that, 120 armor as
Torpedo
an
is
archer.
obviously really good against large opponents such as monsters or Kolek Sun Eater. Ungrim Iron Fist is my legendary lord for this battle. He is the Slayer King, and he has a unit of Slayers behind him. So
You
these
think they
guys
get cold?
are really good against large units such as like monsters, infantry, and things. Then we have 2 units of flame cannons, which are good anti-infantry. and 2
The
units of
artillery for the
cannons, which
dwarves
are
is the
good
main reason I
anti-large.
want to play
And
them.
we have a Master Engineer who has extra powder, which basically gives a buff of
Okay, I love this guy. This is the first time we're seeing the Master Engineer, and it also should be said that this is the first time we're seeing the dwarves post ambush at the Thundering Fall. So they should be them with a lot more work put into them. But extra powder means they have +6 explosion. I think it also allows them to reload faster. So, but I think this might be augment around self-effects allies. Yeah, so it's a toggle on +6 explosive damage, ballistics expert armor, and armor piercing. So his missile damage, he's kind of like a long-range sniper. He's 334 damage. So I don't know if he's going to be good against big units, but against like an anti-large, he's probably really great. The fact that he has armor piercing and he causes a crap ton of damage with one single volley, probably really good for any type of like giant or dragon ogre.
Around him. He also has some other unique abilities which we'll get to. Have a gyro bomber and 2
Armor
units of
piercing missiles,
hammers
probably
at
his
the front,
bombs.
which are damage dealers. They also
See, like, okay, so the Iron Drakes do have more armor than the hammers, just letting you know. But yeah, damage dealer. So if we look down here, melee attack 49, weapon strength 50, maybe not super high, but the combine that with their armor and their leadership, they're one
pretty
hell of
highly
a
armored.
unit.
This whole army generally is quite high tiered, and so is theirs. So kicking off the battle here, the first thing I used was ballistics
I
calibration.
love the
which is basically
cinematic
just
shots
an
that you can do
augment
with your
of 33
replays.
seconds that reduces the reload time of all the units around the Master
The fact that you can
Engineer.
change the camera so that you can have
useful
cinematic.
ability that has
This
not
is
too long of a
gorgeous. I
cooldown
can't
time
wait to get
either.
my hands on this
So
and
it's
actually
good
make
to
my
always
own.
keep popping that off, and you can be used for any kind of missile weapon, not just artillery. Kolek on his way up used Lord of the Storm, which is a bombardment spell. It doesn't actually take any winds of magic. It's his own kind of skill that he can call down. Not very
Doesn't do
powerful,
too
but
much.
it has really good range. As you can see, he used it miles before he even got to the line. I've got my Thunderers then firing in the back, doing pretty decent damage, getting a few volleys off in the beginning. It's debatable whether you want to bring your Master Engineer over
Let's
to
see,
them.
like, they just got off a whole
And
volley,
first-
and you see very little of the Chaos Chosen
Towards the
going down, which I'm
artillery, I'm not
surprised
really
about.
sure.
I would think
On the left
a
side,
volley
they got
by
a
2
sneaky
whole
little flanking with their
Thunderer
Chaos
units would take
Warhounds
out a lot
poison
more.
variation. They didn't go all the way around the mounds. They kind of went in between it, which kind of spread them out very narrowly, but they did get into my Thunderers to stop them firing. Then I have my 4 units of Ironbreakers throwing their satchel charges at the beginning. That is their special ranged weapon, and it isn't as powerful as it looks, although it does a lot of splash
Yeah, I mean,
damage.
it completely
and
covers them in
scatters
fire,
units
but does
around
very
quite a
little
lot.
to actually like stop them or hold them.
Here we have the enemy Metal Sorcerer calling a Hex. This is the Plague of Rust, which
I wonder
basically is...
if this little drop down of like spell information or like unit information is actually part of the replayability of Total War Warhammer, or if it's actually something that he's throwing in later. I would love this if it was something that we could always add into our replays.
Minus 15% armor for a single unit. They've done that just before the Chaos Spawn have attacked, which are good armor piercers. So that's actually quite a clever way of to use it. So by the time...
Okay, so what's he doing? So this must be him. Damage sustained, confident. So he's deadly onslaught activated, so he has a charge bonus, armor piercing damage, and more vigor. Foe seeker, charge bonus, speed, vigor, melee defense, leadership, melee attack. So he's pretty well buffed.
Kolek actually got to my lines, he had half.
But then you have Ungrin with his stand your ground, leadership, melee defense, melee attack, foe seeker, same thing, deadly onslaught, same thing. So they're very similar in terms of their buffs here, which is kind of interesting. There doesn't seem like much variety. Foe Seeker's the same, Deadly Onslaught, I believe, is the same. Stand Your Ground and Fight to Death might be the only 2 differences, but they look pretty similar.
Ungrim Iron Fist popped off all his abilities, Foe Seeker, Stand Your Ground, etc. And they both went in at each other. Kolek, of course, is the bigger of the 2, so he just kind of swipes away at people. And the Metal Sorcerer casts the Transmutation of Lead, which kind of debuffed everyone in the zone's attack. So again, quite powerful. However, Kolek at this point actually started retreating because his morale had broken. He'd taken a lot of damage very quickly.
Love the
my flame
Master
cannons are beginning to fire off as
Master
well, which again
Engineer.
are
This guy
mainly
looks so cool.
anti-infantry. And my Master Engineer here is now moving over to the left side of the battlefield in order to buff the kind of
I'd
missile
love to
troops.
have an
I feel like they
artillery
could
and
do better with
thunder-related
having this buff
army with like 1 or
So
2
at
of
this
those
point,
Master
Kolek has
Engineers.
actually kind of slightly returned to the battle, and he's cast another Lord of the Storm bombardment again.
It causes magical damage, good against flying, strong versus multiple combatants, small strike area. It's kind of cool that's good against flying.
Not doing too much to my hammers, but I felt like I had such a good hill advantage here that I sent my 2 hammers down off the hill to attack the oncoming Chosen and Chaos Warriors. However, as I was doing that, I didn't realize the Chaos Cavalry and Poison
That's the
Warhounds
thing, they
came
have
up
the
behind me.
Warhounds on the cavalry, but they're going in the back of the hammers. I'm
The
surprised.
cavalry
Look,
actually stopped there because
they almost
actually
like
got
run
engaged
right
with
by
the
the artillery equipment as well as the archers. A little surprised that the AI didn't
You can just see the absolute
favor the
just
siege
how
weapons
epic
on
whole scene
the
is with
ranged
flame
units because they
cannons
could
going off in the
easily
background.
wipe
There's
them
a lot
out.
going on here. I was really worried for my hammers because they are now kind of.
But the hammers are
developed
holding their
on
own
both
against
sides, and
2
the dragon ogres are
straight
pushing into the
foes
center.
on
However, I
either
brought my
side.
gyrocopter around to make a quick run. The bombs are actually activated manually. You have to click.
Now, one thing I
manually
don't
to
like
drop
about
the bombs in.
the lack of match combat is it's hard to
Literally
tell
every
like
single
who's
time,
winning or
so
who goes down where.
quite
It's kind of
micro-intensive
endless
that you have to
swinging
kind
on
of
both
maneuver
sides.
your, kind of helicopter where you want it to go, and
Dwarfs
drop
in the
bombs at the
face.
same time. And then the Chaos Lances obviously just came down, just completely crippled my hammers almost completely. Although some of them got back up. More scenes of the battlefield here. Then the Chaos Knights kind of came back up with lances came.
And they
back
finally
up
went
into
after the artillery,
my-
but if they would have
the
came
rest
after
of my
them
artillery, 'cause one of
straight
the
and
units
wiped
was
them
still
out as
firing.
long as well
However,
as
I
the
did turn
cannons
my gun
and
line,
the
from
Thunderers, that
facing
would be
outwards to
insane.
Facing at the cavalry, because this is really the best thing I have for them. And now, obviously, my master engineer can
calibration,
activate
9 to 16
ballistics
reload
calibration
time.
again, and that reload bonus will allow me to take most of them down, hopefully. Kolek at this point really low on health, and I'm bringing over my troll hammer torpedoes to get a last kind of
Love
ditch
these
shot on them.
guys.
They're actually close enough to the master engineer as well to have that reload buff at this time as well. Here we go. Let's see how this gets on. These guys are just awesome as well, by the way. The detail on their trollhammer torpedoes themselves are absolutely incredible. I paused it and had a look at them. The definition on them is actually insane. Kolek has gone down, and that's going to cause a bit of a rout to go on. However, most of the Chaos units actually do stay in place, where the Manticore and the Exalted Hero just bolts for it and they get away. I was so close to killing them. I was really hoping to get a shot.
The Dwarves are
off
so
there, but you can
slow,
see
they
the
have
troll hammer
nothing to
torpedoes
catch
just
up to
missing
any
landing
enemy
where
units.
he kind of
Maybe the
was before he
gyrocopter,
took off.
gyro bomber.
Gyrocopter came down in for melee, or gyro bomber, and the Chaos Knights are heading back up into the fray now that they're kind of doing cycle charges into the front lines, and the ones around the back are doing the same. And we have some Chaos Sponges attacking here. Little do people know is the gyro bomber actually has this kind of like mini gun on the front that shoots maybe 7 or 8 bullets down. Has a really cool sound to it and looks really good. And that's allowing me to take out the kind of Chaos Spawn here. That was an awesome animation, that kind of like twirl animation. So yeah, at this point my gyro bomber has basically dropped all its bombs, so it's good that it's able to rely on not just melee combat but its own kind of guns as well from up there. Very powerful unit. The enemy had called in Plague of Rust again, which again is minus 50% armor for one of the units. My master engineer is just taking a few shots. He himself has a massive hammer on his back for melee combat.
Yeah, the hammer's pretty cool, but his single shot
hunting rifle
is almost probably a guaranteed kill on most
sniper, I
single
guess.
units.
And he just
Meaning like
picks
a
off guys from
single
really far
Chaos
away.
Warrior of a
His range is
Chaos
actually quite incredible.
unit
here, then
card,
coming around on the
not like
front,
a
I kind of came in
single shot
around
on a
the
lord.
back for a flank. So the guys that were engaged in my artillery, I'd now freed up the main line and brought Ungrim around the back of these guys. They actually turned to face me last second though, because I think the hammers were pretty much dealt with at this point, so they didn't really have much going on. Although you can see my Thunderers just firing into them, into the
I'm
cavalry.
surprised we didn't see any
Just
Quarlers
absolutely
here, but
shredding
maybe he decided to go for
because their
the
health is
Thunderers
kinda low.
because
This
of
is
all the
their,
armor
like,
piercing. But
third
the
or fourth
Quarlers also have
cycle charge on
armor
these guys.
piercing. I think Thunderers might have a
So
little
they're
bit
getting quite
more
low down at this
damage
point.
output. You see
Yeah,
here,
they are
like they
starting to
eventually
drop. This
start
isn't
going
in real
down,
time,
but
by
I
the
would
way.
have
I
hoped
have
that
cut up the best
2 or
bits
3
of the gameplay.
volleys
The
of a
battle went on
Thunder
little bit
almost
longer
take
than
out a
this,
whole
although
unit.
Generally speaking, I've tried to show like all the coolest things that happen in the battle. Here's a unit that's actually returned to battle. Another unit of Chosen with great weapons. They're on their way back, although they're just getting hit with cavalry or cannon fire. I was able to put my unit back on the cannons that were like taken off them, and they're coming up into the flank of now Ungrim's little force that was coming around the base of the hill. So they do a decent charge with the great weapons.
I feel
and
like
their
we lose a
poison
lot of
warhounds.
like
Their cavalry
minor
actually comes
detail
in at
with
the same
lack
time
of
as
match
well,
combat. It just seems like there's
so
a
they're
far
really
more
throwing everything they have as the last
flailing.
ditch
It
effort.
seems like there's
It's very,
everything's a
very
lot more
important to win this battle by
convoluted.
getting
Like it's really
Kolek out at the beginning.
like it's muddier. Like
quite
it's hard to
early
see
on,
all
so
the
that
cool little
gave
intricate
that
things
huge
when
morale debuff, and I kept like
if
Ungrim alive.
everyone's in match
And
match
at this point,
combat. You
the
can
whole
actually
army is
I don't know,
actually
pick
kind
up the
of
battle. I
routed
think a lot
and broken,
better.
so they're starting to flee. We're just picking them off at this point, and the challenge is kind of overcome. I really, really hope that when people get this game and pick it up, they try this battle.net. The roster will be at the end, and if people ever ask me, I can tell them it's extremely difficult. I played this maybe 8 or 9 times before I was able to even get a win, and I was only able to win it about twice out of those maybe 9, 10 times I think I played it. I love to think Ungrim's here chasing down the Chaos Warriors like, get the out of my lands. This is dwarf territory. And he's just doing his little swings, taking them down.
Chaos Warriors running away from battle seems interesting.
It is winnable against the dwarves. It is quite difficult though.
And there we go. Same battle, same units, much different outcome. But as you can hear, it's kind of cool that this battle, that the AI is able to win quite often, especially with someone who's probably so familiar with the game, obviously, with working with Sega creating the game. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully the AI is tough. Hopefully the AI can give us like more difficult looks and things like that. Make it a lot more difficult on the player. Some Chaos Knights getting 110 kills. And with that bombshell, that's going to do it for this Let's Play. I have been Atomic Zero, Addicted to Loot. Please stay tuned for all further Total War Warhammer news up until release.
This army wasn't very prepared.